Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, has detonated a fresh political shockwave across Europe, declaring that the Ukraine war would immediately stop if the West pulled the plug on its money and weapons, a claim delivered at his fiery rally in Gyor and circulated through Ruptly. Ramping up his long-running confrontation with the West, Orban accused Washington and Brussels of engineering a conflict Kyiv cannot sustain, insisting that Ukraine's pensions, salaries, and social services survive only on Western cash.
The whole thing is called, the big question is called, that there is a war between Russia and Ukraine. Could this pose a war threat in any scenario, and could this affect our lives? My answer is yes, it could. The second question sounds like, does Hungary have a chance to bring about peace? My answer is no. Hungary can contribute to peacemaking. It can be a good tool in the policy of countries larger than us that want peace, but thinking that we can create peace does not correspond to reality. Then comes the third question. I am trying to take notes here. The third question is that if this is the case, and the Europeans still don't come to their senses, can we stay out of it? Can the Hungarians stay out of a European war?
He then took aim directly at Washington, arguing President Biden has no strategy, while hinting, again via Ruptly, that Donald Trump is prepared to walk away from Kyiv entirely, leaving Europe to face the consequences alone. Orban escalated further, claiming he has seen documents suggesting Russia once offered to halt the war if it could annex 2 regions and Ukraine abandoned NATO. Now, he said, Moscow wants more, potentially 22% of Ukraine, raising the stakes for any future deal.
The Russians suggested that if they could annex 2 regions and Ukraine would not become a member of NATO, in that case, the war could be stopped immediately. I saw the documents about this. Ultimately, the Ukrainians, under Anglo-Saxon pressure, let's be straight, under Anglo-Saxon pressure, said no to this offer. After this, the Russians went home and created a law, and they said, not 2, but 4. Not 2 regions, 4. We will integrate 4 into the framework of the Russian state. And this essentially happened, excluding 22% of Donetsk region. Now the debate is about whether we can persuade the Russians to, instead of accepting the 22% territory, put forward some other consideration and still make a deal.
The comments, delivered as Fidesz amps up its anti-war, anti-migration messaging ahead of 2026, signal one of Orban's most defiant breaks from the Western line since Russia's first tanks rolled across Ukraine. But the rhetoric didn't end there. Hungary's foreign minister, Peter Szijjarto, accused Brussels, in remarks carried by Ruptly, of dragging Europe toward a nuclear edge, claiming the EU wants the war to escalate further, despite the risks of global catastrophe. Szijjarto blasted EU funding for Kyiv as shameless, accusing Brussels of emptying European armories, buying new weapons with citizens' money, and sending them to what he called a gilded war mafia.
The current situation with nuclear capability and local opportunities can only result in a nuclear war that destroys our entire planet. Meanwhile, they shamelessly pour money into Ukraine and shamelessly send the weapons to Ukraine, and since the armories in Europe have been emptied, these weapons also need to be purchased, and they are buying these weapons with the money of European people, only to send them to the gilded war mafia, from whom we haven't seen a single accountability report to this day about how they have used billions of euros of European taxpayers' money.
He then alleged Brussels and Kyiv were backing Hungary's opposition TISA party, turning the election into a fight for survival. And as fidesz doubles down on siege politics, Europe now faces a stark question. is a key NATO and EU state drifting out of the Western fold. Just as the continent's biggest war since 1945 rages on